friends, I'm Rebecca. Welcome to Squintillions. Today I'm going to be talking about investing in Fundrise and REITs. A few months ago, I had an idea for an experiment I wanted to try with real estate investment trusts, or REITs. I wanted to test out how a selection of REITs in the stock market would perform compared to the investments in my Fundrise account. My plan for this idea was laid out in my video, REITs, Fundrise eREITs versus REITs in ETrade, which you may want to watch before this one if you haven't already seen it. This video follows on with additional investments I made to these accounts in May and June 2020. I haven't made a formal plan on when and how much I would invest in these accounts. My initial idea was to spend about $50 to $100 per month on investments. I wanted to look for opportunities to buy in the stock market. After I made an investment through ETrade, I would deposit an equivalent amount of money into my Fundrise account. On May 13th, 2020, seeing depressed prices in the market, I decided I would add one share each to two of my investments. American Campus Communities Inc., ticker ACC, is the largest developer, owner, and manager of high-quality student housing in the United States. I added one share of ACC to my ETrade portfolio for the price of $26.80. That turned out to be the lowest priced day of trading for that REIT in the month of May, and now I wish that I would have bought more shares at the time. The other REIT I added to was the Apartment Investment and Management Company, ticker AIV, also known as Aimco, which owns and manages quality apartment communities in diverse geographical locations within the United States. I bought one share of AIV at $34.55. The total amount spent for these two purchases was $61.35. A few days later, I logged into my Fundrise account to add this amount to my portfolio. That was when I learned that deposits needed to be a minimum of $100. I decided to transfer the full $100 in immediately and planned to make up for the difference in my next transaction. The May deposit was spread across 3 eREITs in my balanced investing portfolio: Income eREIT I, Growth eREIT VI, and Balanced eREIT. As the end of the school year approached, I found myself increasingly helping my 10-year-old son get through his virtual learning schoolwork. Plans for blogging, investing, and making YouTube videos were set aside as I helped him with final projects and kept him on track with his daily workload. Through this period, market prices had been rising. The last day of school was on June 10th. This coincided with a slight decrease in market prices, allowing me to purchase a few more REIT shares, though I missed getting even better deals by one day. I knew I would have to spend at least $38.65 to make up for the extra money I had deposited in Fundrise in May. Since Fundrise has a $100 deposit minimum, I added that to the total amount I would plan to invest through ETrade in June. In the ETrade account, I had some cash left over that I could use for investing, and I transferred an additional $120 into the account to pay for my orders. This time, I bought shares in 3 of the other REITs I held in the account. I knew I definitely wanted another share of WP Carey Inc., ticker WPC, a net lease REIT that invests in high-quality, single-tenant industrial, warehouse, office, retail, and self-storage properties in the United States and Europe. I bought one share of WPC at $67.95. I also wanted to add to my shares of Store Capital Corporation, ticker STOR, another net lease REIT which operates in the service, retail, and manufacturing sectors. The company is taking a hard hit in the current environment, but I am optimistic for the long term. I purchased 2 shares at a price of $25.20. I wish I would have grabbed more shares when the price was in the teens in April. I'll be honest that I wasn't sure which REIT to go with for my final purchase. I was tempted to plunk down for another share of AIV. Instead, I chose to go with Health Peak Properties Inc., ticker PEAK, which owns and develops real estate in the healthcare industry, for the simple reason that it allowed me to get a better average cost basis. I bought one share of Peak at $28.90. This image shows the transactions for my ETrade account for both May and June of 2020. You can see all of the purchases made that I have described. In May, I also collected and reinvested dividends in Peak, ACC, and AIV. As of June 12, 2020, the total value of my ETrade account is $1,322.10. In order to figure out my equivalent deposit in Fundrise for June, I had to complete some calculations. The total amount of money I had invested in REITs in ETrade was $147.25. Then I added the small amount of cash that remained in the account from what I had added but I didn't use for the investments, which was $6.77. Next, I subtracted the extra amount that I deposited in Fundrise in May in order to make the $100 deposit minimum, which was above the cost of the May ETrade investments. That was $38.65. This left me with $115.37. Since my previous video about this experiment, Fundrise has opened up the ability to invest directly into individual eREITs on the platform. I decided that I would deposit the $115 directly into one of the eREITs in my Fundrise account that was at the stabilizing level, Aimco eREIT II. This eREIT holds 12 active projects, 7 of which are in California. Last year, it had a total return of 8.4%. This is the transaction page from my Fundrise account for verification of my deposits. The total amount of money now invested in my Fundrise account is $1,410.64. That means that my Fundrise account is currently up $88.54 over my ETrade account. How will the summer months impact these investments? I'll look back on this experiment again in August after another round of purchases. Information shared on Squintillions is based on my own experiences, thought processes, and research, and is not intended as professional advice. Please do your own research before committing to any investment. You must remember to consider your personal circumstances, financial goals, and timeline, particularly if you're thinking of investing in REITs right now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like button. Click subscribe if you would like to see more content on personal finance and personal growth here on Squintillions.